Suruhanjaya Integriti Agensi Penguatkuasaan mengendali aduan orang ramai dan menjalankan siasatan mengenai salah laku pegawai penguatkuasa dan agensi penguatkuasaan dengan tegas, telus dan efisien. Sila layari www.eaic.gov.my.
UMNO's Datuk Sarani Mohamad new Perak Menteri Besar. MIAPS Quarantine Centre reactivated. Welcome to News at 10. I'm Brendan Lippo. The Sultan of Perak, Sultan Nazrin Shah, has given consent for the Kota Tampan Assemblyman Datuk Sarani Mohamad to be appointed as the new Perak Menteri Besar. Comptroller of the Perak Royal Household, Datuk Abdul Rahim Mohamad, said based on Article 16, Clause 2, Subsection A of the Perak Constitution, Sultan Nazrin is of the opinion that Datuk Sarani is capable of gaining the majority support and confidence of the Perak State Assembly members. He said His Majesty has set the swearing-in ceremony to be held at 11 a.m. tomorrow at Istana Iskandaria, Kuala Kangsar. He said this in a statement read out by a member of Dewan Negara Perak, Datuk Seri Muhammad Anwar Zaini in Ipoh today. Earlier today, Barisan Nasional Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia Bersatu and PAS said they had reached a consensus and agreed to nominate as the next Menteri Besar of Perak. This was announced in a joint statement by Barisan Secretary General Tan Sri Anwar Musa, Bersatu Secretary General Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin and PAS Secretary General Datuk Taqiyuddin Hassan. They said a consensus was reached by the three parties after a meeting earlier today. Perak has been without a leader since Saturday when its Menteri Besar Datuk Sri Ahmad Faisal Azumu announced his resignation the day after losing a confidence vote in the State Assembly by 48 votes to 10 with 1 abstention. 3 localities in Bentong Pahang will be placed under Enhanced Movement Control Order EMCO effective tomorrow until the 23rd of December. According to Senior Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, the areas involved are Ria Apartment, Amber Court Apartment and a workers' quarters in Kampong Semaut following 55 positive COVID-19 cases recorded in the sub-district.
PKPD di ketiga-tiga lokaliti ini akan melibatkan seramai 4,351 orang penduduk. Tujuannya adalah untuk membuat saringan bersasar kepada penduduk yang berkaitan dan SOP-nya sama dengan PKP diperketatkan yang telah pun diumumkan sebelum ini.
Meanwhile, the EMCO in Taman Telipok Ria, Tuaran Sabah will be extended for 14 more days until the 24th of December. According to Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri, the locality recorded 493 positive cases out of 8,186 screenings. However, MOH had confirmed there were still 1,386 samples which are awaiting results. Furthermore, the EMCO in the Sungai Seluang district in Kedah was also extended to 24th of December, involving Taman Bayam, Taman Bayam Indah, Taman Kangkung 1 dan 2, Taman Halia, Taman Ceko Manis, Taman Kobis and Taman Sri Limau. Taman Sawi, however, was removed from EMCO following no new positive cases recorded in the area, but is still subject to CMCO currently in effect in Kulim until the 20th of December. The quarantine centre at the Malaysian Agro Exposition Park Serdang, MIAPS, has been reactivated following an increase in COVID-19 cases among foreign workers. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said the centre would house non-citizens who are either asymptomatic or exhibit minor symptoms. In a media conference on COVID-19 development today, Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham said the centre would conduct mass screening of migrant workers in Klang Valley.
PKRC MAIF 2.0 ini akan dibuka secara berfasa dengan kapasiti maksima sebanyak 1,000 buah katil. Fasa pertama akan dimulakan pada hari ini iaitu 9 Disember 2020 dengan kapasiti sebanyak 650 buah katil yang kemudian akan ditambah secara berperingkat. PKRC MAIF 2.0 akan berfungsi untuk menempatkan pesakit-pesakit bukan warga negara yang sebelum ini telah diasingkan di Institut Latihan Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia di Sungai Buloh, iaitu seramai 250 orang.
Meanwhile, the number of active COVID-19 cases in the country now stands at 10,748 after 959 new infections and 1,068 recoveries reported today. According to Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham, Selangor accounted for the highest number of cases with 277, followed by Sabah with 203 cases. He added that there are currently 127 patients being treated in the intensive care unit, with 61 of them requiring breathing support. The health DG also said that the death toll rises to 393 as 5 new deaths reported today. Also reported was the emergence of another 4 new COVID-19 clusters in Sabah, Kuala Lumpur, Johor, Perak, Kelantan and Negeri Sembilan. Meanwhile, a total of 2,023 health personnel have been mobilized to Sabah to help with COVID-19 screenings in the field as well as medical treatment as of 6 December. According to Deputy Health Minister 2, Dato' Aaron Ago Dagang, the logistics and sample delivery system was also improved to expedite COVID-19 screening test results.
Kerajaan telah mengambil langkah-langkah seperti berikut, khususnya di Sabah. Mempertingkatkan aktiviti pengesahan kes dan kontak secara aktif di lapangan bagi memastikan kesemua yang terlibat disaring dan diasingkan daripada komuniti. Menjalankan aktiviti ngah kuman dan ngah cemar. Dan juga mempertingkatkan penguatkuasaan pematuhan prosedur operasi standard atau PSOP yang melibatkan pelbagai agensi.
Dato' Aaron also said that the capacity of medical and treatment assets in 8 hospitals and 36 treatment centres as well as low-risk quarantine centres in Sabah had also been boosted. The ministry has also collaborated with private hospitals as a preemptive measure in case COVID-19 infections become more severe. The Department of Irrigation and Drainage, JPS, has conducted sewerage infrastructure construction and upgrade works in an effort to overcome flood issues in urban areas. Strategic collaboration was also formed with local authorities, PBT, by recommending the usage of the Urban Stormwater Management Manual for Malaysia, MSMA. Deputy Environment and Water Minister Dr. Ahmad Mazrizal Mohamad explained that MSMA was formed to reduce the impact of water runoff due to permeable ground surfaces formed after development constructions.
Antara langkah yang disyorkan oleh MSMA untuk menampung air larian ini adalah dengan membina kolam takungan akan menakung seketika dan kemudian mengalirkan perlahan-lahan air tersebut ke sungai selepas daripada hujan. Dan kementerian juga berpandangan kerjasama di antara JPS dan juga PBT amat diperlukan bagi kita sama-sama berusaha menangani masalah banjir kilat yang berlaku di seluruh negara, yang mana kita harapkan ia dapat dizahirkan dengan memantapkan lagi mekanisme pematuhan ulasan saliran oleh JPS dalam proses permohonan kebenaran merancang bagi sesebuah pembangunan.
Coming up next, 4 charged with murder of ex-Mardi researcher. But first, police have seized 240 cryptocurrency mining machines worth about 200 to 500 ringgit each in Op Api TNB at Taman Puncak Jadil, Bandar Putra Permai, Seri Kembangan on the 5th of December. The raid was conducted on 3 premises, which were stealing electricity supply worth at least 20,000 ringgit a month by bypassing the meter and avoiding actual electricity consumption measurements. In a press meet, Sedang Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Razali Abu Samad said the Bitcoin operator has been operating since 2 months ago in the 3 double-story premises. During the raid, he said 3 men aged between 29 to 54 and a woman were arrested.
Dalam serbuan Op Api TNB ini tadi, kita telah merampas sebanyak 240 mesin Bitcoin ini tadi yang masih beroperasi, iaitu yang sedang beroperasi pada masa serbuan itu dibuat. Modus operandi ini ialah melakukan pengubahsuaian pendawaian. Mereka tadi menggunakan peralatan mesin-mesin ini dengan cara melakukan pengubahsuaian pendawaian di mana tak ada lagi dah. Dia tak melalui meter TNB. Dia tidak melalui meter TNB yang dibekalkan.
The case is investigated under Section 37, Subsection 1 of the Electricity Supply Act 1990, which carries a maximum jail term of 10 years or maximum fine of 1 million ringgit or both if convicted. 4 men were charged at the Kuala Lumpur Magistrates Court today for the murder of former IT Division Director of the Malaysian Agricultural Research and Development Institute, MARDI, Dr. Wan Hassan Wan Embong, at his house 2 weeks ago. The accused, Ravindran Mani Murasu, 23, Kogilan Paniselvam, 23, Sugu Tangaraju, 27, and Vigneswaran Selvaj Santiran, 22, acknowledged the charges read but did not enter a plea before Magistrate Wong Chai Sia. According to the charge sheet, the offence was committed at a house along Jalan Tiara Titiwangsa, Taman Tiara Titiwangsa, between the hours 4:15 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. on the 29th of November. The charges were preferred under Section 302 of the Penal Code for murder and read together with Section 34 of the same Act, which provides for the mandatory death sentence upon conviction. Magistrate Wong then set the 9th of March for the next case mentioned. All 4 men were then transferred to the Sessions Court in front of Judge Israelizam Sanusi, also where they were charged with gang robbery under Section 395 and 397 of the Penal Code. An immigration officer attached to KLIA's Operations Department who was caught red-handed accepting a 12,000 ringgit bribe to release 2 Chinese nationals has been sentenced to 30 days in jail. 26-year-old Zalizi Ismail was also fined 20,000 ringgit after pleading guilty to accepting the bribe without consideration in the Shah Alam Sessions Court today. Sessions Court Judge Rosilla Saleh also reprimanded the accused for failing to carry out his duty fairly and failing to uphold the trust given to him by the Immigration Department to monitor the entry points into the country. He earlier pleaded guilty to accepting 12,000 ringgit in his capacity as an immigration officer from one Chu Wing Kong on the 2nd of December. The money was purportedly for the purpose of expediting the process of the remand of 2 China nationals, namely Zhao Guifang and Zhu Jiangliang, and to release them to return to China. Based on the facts of the case, both the China nationals were detained during an immigration inspection at the departure hall on the 4th floor of the main terminal building of KLIA on the 29th of November after being suspected of overstaying in the country. They were subsequently remanded for 14 days until the 12th of December. The Dewan Rakyat was told today that the country's unemployment rate is expected to drop to 4.5% in December and will continue the trend until next year. According to Human Resources Minister Datuk Seri M. Saravanan, this is driven by the implementation of various economic stimulus packages by the government in its effort to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the economy and labour market. Datuk Seri Saravanan said the recovery rate in the Malaysian labour market can be seen with the month-to-month positive growth of the labour force and declining of the unemployment rate.
Berdasarkan STB juga, kadar pengangguran tertinggi pada tahun 2020 telah dicatatkan pada bulan Mei 2020, iaitu sebanyak 5.3% dengan bilangan penganggur seramai 800 26.1 ribu orang. Pemulihan pasaran buruh Malaysia dapat diperhatikan dengan kadar pengangguran menurun daripada paras tertinggi iaitu 5.3% kepada 4.9% iaitu 773.2 ribu pada Jun 2020. Kadar pengangguran terus turun kepada 4.7% pada Julai dan kekal pada kadar 4.7% pada Ogos 2020.
The minister also added that as of 27 November, a total of 120,296 of the 372,934 unemployed individuals have successfully secured new employment. The Companies Commission of Malaysia, SSM, has received 85,901 new business registrations as of September this year, compared to 76,443 companies registered throughout last year. This positive trend is supported by the various assistance in the form of funding and grants introduced by the government. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz in a statement said the government remain committed to support growth of small and medium enterprises, SMEs, to ease their operations and expand business opportunities. He said government agencies including Bank Negara, Bank Simpanan Nasional, Perbadanan Usahawan Nasional Berhad, PUNB and Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation MDEC have been providing SMEs soft loan funds for business owners. The Finance Minister hoped the assistance could help SMEs to improve their operation in the medium and long terms and to encourage them to invest in and apply the use of new technology in their businesses. According to Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul, as of the 27th of November, over 1.4 million SMEs have benefited from the 24 billion ringgit economic stimulus packages announced by the government this year to mitigate the impact of COVID-19. Now, the aspect of digital development will be given focus in the new Services Sector Action Plan 2021 to 2025. Senior Minister Datuk Seri Azmin Ali said all programs under the action plan will support and complement the National Digital Infrastructure Plan, JENDELA. He further explained that good leadership is a crucial element in ensuring that the digital revolution can be accepted, harnessed and executed. MITI will provide continuous support and guidance to strengthen industries, especially in efforts to boost productivity and sustainability of small to medium enterprises, SMEs.
Clearly, digitalization will boost productivity growth for SMEs in Malaysia for the immediate, medium and long term. Highly productive economies must adapt quickly to technological developments, and this involves the willingness of leaders to acculturate new ways of producing goods and services, resulting in innovative ways of operating businesses.
Speaking virtually in the Leadership and Digital Summit 2020, Datuk Seri Muhammad Azmin added that the country is currently at the 33rd position out of 144 countries, involving the aspect of ICT usage based on the Global Competitiveness Report 2019. With support and smart collaboration with public and private sectors, SMEs have the potential to spearhead digital entrepreneurship transformation. Still ahead, COVID case cuts short Singapore cruise to nowhere. Nearly 1,700 passengers on a Royal Caribbean cruise to nowhere from Singapore were told to stay in their cabins after a COVID-19 case was detected on board, forcing the Quantum of the Seas ship back to port. The infected passenger, an 83-year-old male, had reported to the onboard medical centre with diarrhea, and others on board were told of the infection early today. Royal Caribbean and the Singapore Tourism Board (STB) said all guests and crew of the ship who had close contact with the infected guests had subsequently tested negative for the virus. Annie Chung, director of the cruise segment at the STB, said the passengers and crew will stay on board in their rooms until contact tracing is complete. They will all undergo mandatory COVID-19 testing before leaving the terminal. In the meantime, they are being given regular updates and meals are provided directly to their rooms. The cruise to nowhere by Royal Caribbean is one of its first sailings since the company halted global operations in March due to the coronavirus. There were 1,680 guests and 1,148 crew members on board. Indonesia began to cast ballots in regional elections today, with health experts warning a huge turnout could see new COVID-19 clusters emerge across the archipelago. Some polling stations were decorated with different themes to draw in voters, despite social distancing guidelines in place at the stations and calls from public health experts and Islamic groups to delay voting. One station adopted a hospital theme where officers dressed up in medical uniforms, with others taking on superhero or ethnic group culture themes. Outside stations in Depok, a city in West Java, officers took temperatures and handed out gloves for voters. More than 100 million people are eligible to vote in the world's third largest democracy. A mammoth logistical undertaking even without a pandemic, Indonesia's General Elections Commission said the poll will span almost 300,000 polling stations in 24 districts and 37 cities. The vote coincides with a surge in coronavirus cases, with Indonesia suffering the worst outbreak in Southeast Asia, with more than 586,000 infections and 18,000 deaths. China has tested more than 250,000 people for COVID-19 after a handful of new cases were detected in the southern city of Chengdu. An elderly couple were diagnosed as confirmed cases on Monday, and authorities have been tracing their close contacts and testing food samples. Local health officials said the virus was detected in food stored in their fridge and on a chopping board in their flat. The Municipal Health Commission said as of yesterday, 255,200 residents in the city had been swabbed for COVID-19 tests, with 6 confirmed cases and 1 asymptomatic patient. Schools and kindergartens in the Pidu district where the cases emerged have closed, with students and teachers to quarantine and be tested for the virus. Footage on state TV showed people in a park queuing up to be tested by health officials in hazmat suits. China has largely brought domestic transmissions under control, with state media blaming recent clusters on imports of frozen food and other shipments. The World Health Organization, however, says there is currently no evidence that people can catch COVID-19 from food or food packaging. British health officials today warned that anyone with a history of significant allergic reactions should not have the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID jab for the time being. The warning came after 2 members of the state-run National Health Service, who were among the first to receive the vaccine on Tuesday, suffered allergic reactions and needed treatment. NHS England Medical Director Stephen Powis said both people who had a history of reactions were now recovering well. He added the Independent Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, MHRA, has now advised that people with a significant history of allergic reactions to not receive this vaccination as a precaution. According to the MHRA, significant allergic reactions include those to medicines, food or vaccines. Thousands of Britain became the first in the Western world to receive an approved COVID-19 vaccine on Tuesday, as the NHS began the biggest vaccination drive since it was created in 1948. The vaccine is administered in 2 doses, 21 days apart. The over 80s and health and social care staff are first in line to get the jab in the national rollout. Britain has received some 800,000 doses of the vaccine in the first batch of an order of 40 million. Up to 4 million doses are expected by the end of December. Coming up in sports, Manchester United out at group stage, PSG game abandoned. Stay with us. RB Leipzig scored twice in the opening 13 minutes but had to survive a late comeback from Manchester United to cling on to a 3-2 win that sent them into the Champions League knockout stage and eliminated the English side. The Germans, semi-finalists last season, were totally dominant in the early stages and raced into a 2-0 lead with goals from Angelino and Amadou Haidara, before a third in the second half from Justin Kluivert appeared to be the final nail in the United coffin. A Bruno Fernandes penalty, however, sparked the visitors into life in the 80th minute and a Paul Pogba header soon after set up a tense finale, but it all came too late for United, who were left to rue a sloppy start and will now drop into the Europa League. Leipzig are on top of Group H with 12 points, but we'll have to wait to see if they stay there, while United are out, having finished third with 9 points. Istanbul, Başakşehir and Paris Saint-Germain players walked off the pitch during a Champions League soccer game on Tuesday after the Turkish club accused the match official of racism. Başakşehir's Cameroonian assistant coach Pierre Weber was shown a red card for protesting against a refereeing decision, and the Turkish side then left the field after about 10 minutes of discussions with Romanian referee Ovidiu Hatagan. PSG then also left the field at the Parc des Princes. Istanbul Başakşehir said on Twitter that the players had taken a decision not to go back on the pitch after their assistant coach Pierre Weber has been exposed to racist behavior by the fourth official. The game, which was suspended in the 13 minutes, did not resume, and European soccer's governing body UEFA said the rest of the match had been rescheduled for today. UEFA added that it will be conducting a thorough investigation, saying racism and discrimination in all its forms has no place within football. Başakşehir posted UEFA's No to Racism banner on Twitter, a post that was retweeted by PSG on their own official account. PSG qualified for the last 16 of Europe's leading club competition despite their match being suspended and then rescheduled after Manchester United lost 3-2 at Leipzig. In other fixtures, Juventus outclassed Barcelona 3-0 at the Camp Nou, claiming top spot in Champions League Group G and worsening an under-fire Barca, with the club suffering back-to-back defeats for the first time under Koeman's stewardship. A constant thorn in the Catalan side while in Spain with Real. 35-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo scored 2 penalties to take his goal tally against Barca to an extraordinary 20 in 31 games. The third goal of the Italian champions was scored by Weston McKennie, who overcame Marc-Andre ter Stegen with a stunning volley. Both sides had already qualified for the knockout stages before kickoff. They ended the group phase on 15 points each, but Juve took first place by virtue of a superior head-to-head record. Barcelona was set to finish top of the group, having beaten Juventus 2-0 in Turin, only for the Italian champions to better the results and move above them. Finishing second means the Catalans will, in theory, face tougher round of 16 opponents when the draw is made on 14 December. Qatar will be included as a guest team in European World Cup qualifying Group A as part of their preparation for hosting the 2022 tournament. As hosts, Qatar qualify automatically for the 2022 World Cup and therefore have to rely on friendly games to get ready for the finals. The Gulf nation has been placed as a shadow team in Group A, one of the 5-team groups in UEFA's qualification process, and will play friendly games against whichever team has a free date on a given match day. Group A includes Portugal, Serbia, Azerbaijan, Luxembourg and Ireland. The venue for Qatar's home fixtures has not been confirmed, but they will play games in Europe. The Qatar games will not count in any way towards the qualification process and would be categorized as friendly matches. The move mirrors the approach taken by France for the 2016 European Championship that they hosted. That's it from us this evening. In our top story, UMNO's Datuk Sarani Mohamad, new Perak Menteri Besar. Join us for updates at noon at 12:30 tomorrow. Till then, I'm Brandon Lepal. Thanks for watching.